Today we would like to talk about like sustainable action plan discourse on pollution, and we would like to mention this that what has been um, happening in the last about a year now because the pandemic started in December 2019, and it started from Wuhan, and then of course it traveled all around the globe. It went to Italy, and then from Italy, then means everywhere. So it is nearly 1 year now. And over the last 1 year, so you could see that um, it is terrible for the humankind, and then somehow we are surviving. So, and I think it never happened to the life of many of the people who are working in different organization, and especially for the atmospheric scientists and the climate scientists, because they have noticed the visible change, and even the common person also realize that if naturally you shut down everything and then you want to see the change, it was not possible because this is the positive side of COVID-19 pandemic. Otherwise, there is no way, there is no rule and regulation in the world that you can shut down each and every factory or school, college, transport, and thermal plants or industry, small industry, large industry, number of things. So this has given this us an opportunity that how the things have changed and what should we do. Means this has it has been like an eye opener for us that if nature can stop pollution, every kind of pollution, when you talk like all kind of pollution, then definitely uh, we can take action. We can take one step ahead uh, to do something like for our nature, for our human being, for our resident fellows, and especially during winter in northern India, situation is very bad. Everywhere, I think we are having very high level of pollution, and this pollution is about maybe 10 times to 20 times to 30 times larger than it should have been. So we can imagine or we can think that we are living in a very bad air quality, and as a result our life is decreased by about a decade or 15 years. So this is a curse, like we are living in the big cities, and in the big cities we are not getting any good air quality. Sorry. So what should we do? So before we discuss those what should we do, so let's see something that some kind of idea, basic idea. And this is the scenario. You could see on your left side, this is an example of like 3rd April and early morning. Of course, at that time it was a lockdown period, but the situation was something like this, hazy conditions and all. And now it's a whole day like this in Delhi. Even now, I think it's quite hazy, and the pollution is about like 250 microgram per meter cube, and which is about 6 times larger than as given by the directions of the WMO or our Indian standards. But on the right side, if you see, the right side is something like you can see that this is a clear sky, which we have never seen in the last 10 years in Delhi. So we were lucky to have this kind of blue sky, very high sky, and you can see maybe like 10-15 kilometer wide. So this is of course unique situation. Let me show you that what was the situation for pollution at that time. So this picture is giving you some basic idea of PM2.5 from March 1st, 2020 to about 14th April 2020. So this is about like 45 days. So these are the different stations which are shown in the different colors. So of course, as already mentioned, because it is a lockdown period, but even in the lockdown period, you can see the variability in the PM2.5. So this kind of variation um, is something like this kind of variability is linked with like rainfall, then rainfall. So whenever there is a rainfall, it's a washing out of PM2.5. So these vertical lines, they are basically representing rainfall days, and you can see from here like it drastically decreases from 120 to like 20, about 100 microgram per meter cube is reduced instantly. However, you are looking that there are some kind of like patterns, these kind of the patterns, and all stations of Delhi NCR is following that. Whether you are in Gurugram or you are in the center of the city or you are in Greater Noida, of course, if you can see from the Greater Noida to this red, it is almost double. However, the pattern is same, the variability is same. So this is what we call the atmospheric dynamics. So atmospheric dynamics can explain this kind of features very well. And when you deal with this, any kind of the pollution emission, whether it is coming from anthropogenic, coming from household, or coming from transport, but in the background somewhere, like I think the dynamical motions, which is traveling from one place to another on the large scale, maybe like a few hundred kilometer wide. So there are some features the atmosphere basically oscillate by that time period. And I think for the science students, it's easy to identify. And it is something like if you just count peak to peak from here to here, then here, then here. So it's something like 5 day, and it is about like 5 day, about 6 7 days, 6 7 day. So these are like weekly or quasi bi-weekly, quasi weekly period, and this quasi weekly periodicity in the PM 2.5 variation can be explained on the basis of atmospheric oscillations, whether they are coming because of maybe pressure change, temperature change, wind velocity change, or any other emission which can be linked with the long-term transport from like western side, Rajasthan or further. Means there are some evidence, and these evidence they basically link with that we are having um, observations, which is connected with Egypt. So you create some kind of emission somewhere in the world, and atmosphere has no boundary, no physical boundary. We have, I think the country have, and in each country you have the different regions. We do have boundary, but atmosphere no. So you do something like maybe in China or we do something in India, and everyone is get affected. Whether if you are in the tropical region of the globe, if you are located in the middle latitude, like European countries and some part of America and Korea, Japan, they are all middle latitude. And then we are having high latitude, I mean, especially like Sweden and Norway, Finland, so those particular area. So because there are motions, we need to understand that if you want to understand fully about the pollution. But briefly, I would like to tell you that in Delhi also, long-term transport is also taking some kind of the responsibility for this pollution, and which we can understand. If you just see only like one day, so this is a one day observations, that is 24 hours. And these 24 hours variability you can see like in the early morning around 7, 8, 9, then you are having high value. So it is advisable for the old people, or for the very young generation, to avoid this period whenever you are having high values of pollution. But it is not necessary that it is what kind of PM 2.5 is, because PM 2.5 is the number of particles. But there is another branch of science. They are working continuously day and night to identify that what kind of PM 2.5 particles they are, whether they are silica, they are sulfate, they are phosphate ions. So what kind of particles they are, because each one of them, they are having the different um, health effect, and accordingly the doctors or the medical doctors, they can interpret that during this particular period, if it is transport, the transport produce different kind of pollution, and if it is fog, then it is different, and if it is a long-term transport, then it is like sand or silica which is contributing, and if it is like Diwali festival, then you are having sulfur in larger quantity. So these are some kind of like things which we can basically understand. But it is just to bring to your kind notice that in 24 hours, you can see that how nicely um, PM 2.5 changes. Of course, during daytime, we know during daytime around here, uh, you are having sunshine and the wind speed is larger. So suddenly, then it reduces. Of course, if there is a local fire, then it can pick up this. So the instrument is very, very important. What kind of instruments are you using? So we are having simple instruments. I don't know whether you can really see this. Just a moment. Vivek, can you see this? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
It's a very small instrument, but it is giving the same value like uh, we are having very expensive instruments in Delhi, uh, which are implemented by the Delhi government, uh, but they are very small. I think it hardly maybe around like 15,000 rupees or something. But the value, the estimate of PM 2.5 is same. You maybe when you visit Delhi, we can give you one instrument and you can uh, fix this in Arunachal. Okay, so we would like to give you one this instrument of PM 2.5. Okay, so this is the graph. Um, the orange blue is before pollution, and this is before lockdown, and these are the different stations like Shadipur, Rohini, Dwarka, Narela, US Embassy, Greater Noida, Gurugram. So you can see that in the lockdown, the value reduced to about like 50%, maybe in some places more, it may be like 70%. So 30 to 70% reduction we have seen in the lockdown uh, in the last 1 year. However, I think during October and November, this situation is very bad in Delhi because of there are some certain reasons for it. And I think the audience can understand this, that in Delhi is located at such a place that you are getting the agricultural waste of fire from Punjab and Haryana. And this year, uh, the farmers they burnt out their leftover of the agriculture, and because of that, the wind is very small during this winter time. Wind speed is not very high, and the direction of the wind is from north to towards Delhi. That is from Punjab and Haryana towards New Delhi. So whatever the burning is taking place, the entire that pollution is adding to the Delhi NCR, and it takes a few days to disperse. And the reason is for that, as I already mentioned, that the climatic conditions are like that. This is another important graph, observations taken by a network of, this is what we call AeroNet, and this is related with the atmospheric optical depth. So the basic idea to show this graph is that around here, when the lockdown started, I mean 2020, so we are around here during lockdown. So suddenly the black dot, they basically represent uh, aerosol's optical depth. I mean, so aerosol's optical depth tells about that how transparent is the atmosphere for us. So you can see from here that atmosphere is quite clear, and therefore you are having the reduction in the optical depth. So there are two, I think, two aspects of this. One is this, that you are getting a lot of radiation on the earth, and the reason is that atmosphere is not blocking that because it was so clear. So maximum radiations they were reaching to the earth's surface. On the other hand, there are some negative point. I mean that you can get even the harmful radiation they can also reach. Therefore, the um, the scientific community who are working to take this solar radiation measurement um, every day and over the last 2 decades or 3 decades, so that they can tell you that how much and what kind of the solar radiation is reaching to the earth, so that you can really tell to the public. uh, just a moment. uh, हालांकि मेरे लेक्चर चल रहा है अभी एक और होना चाहिए मैं बाद में okay, sorry for interruption. So my basic point was that to tell you that this is really to tell you the scenario of the clean atmosphere. So there are very clear observations which you can demarcate with, like, could you see from here this black dots, and suddenly there is a decrease. So the atmosphere is so transparent. So that is the kind of the beauty of this lockdown that we have never seen. Even from Delhi, I mean, if you go to like Punjab, from Jalandhar, you could see a huge range of Pir Panjal, which is 200 kilometers away from there. From UP side, people have seen that another Gangotri line very clearly, and people have taken their photograph also. So these are some really very good things which lockdown has provided us um, this year. But as soon as the lockdown is going out, and the opening is coming up slowly, then we are having uh, problems. They are almost reaching to the same stage, whether it is transport, whether it is national thermal NTPC or something like this. So these are some important factors that we should keep into mind. Uh, I think maybe this is one view graph you can see 24 hours observations of some of the species. And you can see from here, this is PM 2.5. Could you see why my cursor movement? Could you see, please? आप लोग सुन पा रहे हैं? Could you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a 24 hours observation, and these observations, this blue is 2020 here, and this is the average of 2 3 years. So this paper is published by Singh and his my friend in US, published in Environment Pollution. So you could see from here that the blue part is quite low in comparison to this like upper one. So there is a reduction in PM 2.5. This is IGP, so Indo-Gangetic Plain. There is a about like more than 50% reduction. Then northwest means you are talking about like Rajasthan and all. So maximum reduction is here in IGBP. And in the south, of course, it was not very large, as you know the reason for it. Now PM10, it was very high around here. Then there is a decline here. Then decline in all direct means in the south, but maximum is around here. Then you talk about ozone concentration. So ozone concentration in general in IGBP, I think there are observations which show that ozone increased, and increase of the ozone, the reason for that oxygen can react with the atomic oxygen and it makes O3 more and more because of the transparency or very clear sky. But in south, we have seen the decline. The nitrogen dioxide, because these are very important uh, species and which are dangerous, which comes in the category of the pollutants. So I show you NO2. So NO2 is also reduced drastically. So big reduction here in Indo-Gangetic Plain. It means you talk about Kanpur, Lucknow, and then Varanasi, then Dehradun, then this entire belt. This is the average feature. Carbon monoxide is also reduced, and then finally, just a moment, then you are having sulfur dioxide is also reduced. So these are some uh, important features what happened during this lockdown. So in the lockdown, we found that many things reduced which are harmful. But now observations onwards will show you that whether we have reached to some conclusion or whether we have learned from there, we need to understand that. Okay, so I take you there. Just a moment. I stop this sharing. Okay, so let's come back. So this was the general scenario which I wanted to talk to you, and so that you can have a glimpse that what happened uh, during lockdown and what happened to the pollution uh, that created a lot of problem. And Delhi is one of the worst city in terms of pollution in the world. And already mentioned you that people are dying here, and lakhs of death are taking place because of pollution or pollutants. Now, what should we do if you want to stop that? What should our line of action? There are some measures probably which can be taken, and personally, I feel that maybe I realize that maybe we should go to the schools at early age, and we should talk to them and talk to them about environment. And if they learn as early as possible, so probably that would be really very helpful for the community. Otherwise, if they are late to learn about the safety of environment, about our responsibilities, it would be too late. So I think the you young guys and the young I think volunteers who are working for for the safe air quality, and it's not only like air quality, that is one component of environment. We need fresh water, we need non-contaminated vegetables. It means we should not also pollute rivers. And if you pollute rivers, or some fertilizers or uh, unwanted material is going in the river stream, and that is used for agriculture, then I think this would be really very dangerous. Probably we need to uh, avoid that, and we need to make some kind of like effort with the young people. So I think I stop here, and I really happy to take some questions uh, from you, because my throat is not allowing me to speak more. Already for last 2 days having fever, so somehow I could manage to talk to you people. Thank you very much, Oin. So yeah, I would like to really take some questions from you. So anybody is free to talk. Yeah,
Uh, we have I have scheduled a meeting till 6 p.m. and we are left with around like 20 minutes. So if you have any question regarding this pollution, for example, how can we as an individual tackle this pollution and what action is needed to tackle this, so you can ask any question from Dr. S.K. Dakha sir.
yeah. So thank you very much. Then I think I'd like to talk about this. Um, the basic idea is that we should change our habits. We should talk to the people. Even like very simple methods can be applied, like cleaning of the roads. So how the people are doing this? They are using the big brooms and they are just pushing this sand aside. And I think they should have used something like some kind of like water droplets or before they do this. Number two, in Delhi NCR, the large area, people use wood burning in the night, and they burn plastic, they burn rubber tire, they burn many other things, polythenes and all. So we should talk to them, then they should change this kind of the habit. Of course, at some places, maybe you are having the very local industry. They are not following any norms. They are running secretly in their like houses. So those things, I think we should we should stop them. They are creating, they are adding pollution and that emission, and this emission is really um, very harmful for us. So similarly, like in the open area, for instance, like in the playground or maybe garden area, so usually they don't gather all these leaves. So what they do, they just lit fire to all the leaves, despite the fact of the government, but still they practice to lit fire. That is very bad. So these things, how we can stop them? The only way is that we should conduct some workshop. We should come closer to those kind of the people, and we should teach them. And we can take simple instruments also, that, and you can show that how harmful this is with you. Even in the rural, semi-rural area, like outside just Delhi, I think um, they still practice like for cooking. We do not have like cylinders or gas system. Still, I think they use wood or coal or something like this. So that should be replaced slowly. So these are some factors. Probably our behavior is very important to adopt this as soon as possible. At least you can reduce 20, 30, 40% from all this kind of situation. Yeah, so this is my basic idea is like to come closer to the society, to the people, and we should talk to them. Any other question? On any other question, please?
Sir,
Yeah, do you have more question, Owen?
yes, sir. Sir, I just want to ask that, sir, if we don't take any action now against this pollution, then what will be the future of our India? If we don't stop pollution now, then what will be its future?
Yeah, um, you can imagine this. And CO2 is already increasing worldwide. And the rate of increasing of CO2 is about like um 2 ppm per year, and it's quite rapid. So people thought, I mean, the climate change system, they argue to many developing and developed country that we should reduce this at least half in the next 5 to 10 years. But we really don't know. If CO2 is continuously increasing due to industry and all, but on the other hand, if if you see that if you cannot stop this PM 2.5, PM 1, PM 10, then our life is going to be miserable. Now, our life is already reduced by 10 years to 15 years. And if this is increasing, then we will be forced to live in hell. You do not have the good quality of life. You cannot lead a good quality of life. You can survive maybe like 60 years, 70 years, but every day you need medicine. So the number of cases which are got affected, you can't breathe normally. And if you cannot breathe normally, you can imagine that how bad it would be for our life. So these are the things like you can forecast. And on the other hand, newborn children, they are uh, they are not healthy. when when they get born, and I think that time they are having many problems. Their lungs are squeezed. They, in India, maybe big percentage of the children they do not have the like well developed lungs like in America or like in Europe because of pollution. So our lungs are squeezed. It means in the long term, our health issues would be tremendous, would be very, very bad. So these are some factors we need to, of course, they also pollution also get effect on our eyes, eyesight, our hair, our skin cancer, and our hearing loss, heart problem. So there are a number of studies now coming up that pollution is badly influencing our life. So as soon as we learn about the impact of this on the environment and on especially on the directly on the life of the common person, then probably it would be good for us. Next on, so तुषार, आप सुन पा रहे हो तुषार? Owen,
Yes, sir, I'm able to hear.
okay, good. Um, Owen, anybody, Tushar, you want to ask any question?
Yes, sir, I'm thinking about that. If any topic is not clear, I will surely ask.
Yeah, good. I know you are a very good instrumentalist. You are very, it's a young scientist. We are proud of you,
Thank you so much, sir.
and you would be the youngest probably in this list. So we are very, very happy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So I'd like to tell to others that Tushar is in high school and already I think completed more than like 50 to 100 uh, certificates and small instruments, sensors, gadgets in the last 2 3 years. Any other question from anybody?
Sir, someone just asked that how much Holi and Diwali contribute to air pollution?
Diwali, okay. This
Sir,
year,
Diwali and Holi.
yeah, this year we are measuring pollutants for the last 3 4 years during Diwali day. Um, in fact, it is there for like 2 3 days. The intensity is very high and not for a long time. But that particular night, PM 2.5, PM 10, it goes maybe like 5 6 times larger than existing. So that is suffocating, and especially the sulfur particles are more in the air. So about 5 times you can say. But this year, I think it was in a big control because of the government order, government policy that, uh, and the advertisement was at large because already people were in a terrible condition in Delhi because of fire, this agriculture waste burning, and therefore government requested to the people that not to go for like firecrackers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse
uh,
me, can I raise my question?
Yeah,
Smita,
you
Hello.
can.
you do
Uh,
you have, yeah, please ask, you please don't hesitate, you ask questions, no problem.
so my question was about Holi. That every year people burn uh, like the amount that is not needed, the amount of wood they burn, which is not really needed in very nearby areas. So does that contribute to the heating up levels of the atmosphere? And is it, I mean, we can actually feel the winter ending and the summer starting like in few days after the Holi. Like, is there any way we can maybe tell the societies to maybe tell them to? lower the amount of holy wood burning
Okay,
thing,
okay.
anything, or maybe request the government, maybe apply some rules and regulations. Like if people
Mm-hmm.
say we can do that.
Okay. So, yeah, your question is quite good. Um, but there are two, three things like probably I'd like to mention to the young audience. In India, we follow many things like spiritual things, and to
Yeah,
touch them is difficult sometimes. And when we say directly, and probably they get angry, and it's especially like even I would like to mention you that uh, you know in Delhi recently there are many deaths because of the COVID-19, and what should we do like for burning the dead body? And people have some basic idea that if you go for like burning, probably that also require maybe like 100 kg wood or something like, and that also pollutes or something. But this has been a long practice in India, uh, in a big community. So, um, nevertheless, but because it's difficult to touch if anybody or they want similarly for the festivals. So, of course, we can take measurement uh, that pollutants, especially you. Are you talking about when you throw colors and all and they contribute, or are you
no,
talking about natural Smita? I
the
missed
air pollution that happens due to the wood burning.
wood burning.
Yeah,
Yeah, wood burning is measured many times, and
because all over the nation, I think that this practice is carried out. So the overall, I mean, it is just my assumption. Maybe I am wrong, but overall temperature levels rise in a week or maybe a week or two after
yeah,
that, and the
I think I got your question. I think you are talking about that mm, holy burning
holy cars.
woods and all, but at the same time we are also having colors problem because when you throw colors, they also contribute to the air pollution. Means in terms of like small particles or some kind of the particles when you throw. That is also, but maybe not so big. But burning woods during Holi is certainly can contribute for like couple of days. So I guess maybe it will make because wood burning I have seen many times when we are very close to that. If the pollution is about like 100 microgram, and when you go very close to the uh, burning area, then it becomes like 500, 600. So it's about like maybe 10 times. 10
Sir, I would like to contribute about this
Yeah,
question
please.
from the Smita. As
Uh,
we know that India is a very diverse country and we have a lot of festivals and community. So
yes.
burning
Yes,
holy,
sir.
definitely when we burn the woods, it contributes to the pollution. But the time period is very short and we should not worry about such kind of pollutions. So if we are looking especially for the pollution, then we should focus on the things which affects us in the long term way. Like air pollution, like burning is definitely a part. Like we stubble burning is also going on in the northern part of India, and for about uh, 15 to 20 days in the month of October, Delhi is suffocating. We feel too much pollution here, and the values goes up to 800 to 900 ppm, and sometimes it goes higher. But the question about the Holi is definitely, I think, we should not worry about those things. That contribution is very less and very for the very short period. So we should obviously earning wood is not a good thing, but it's a practice and spiritual practice, and we cannot stop such kind of practices. So it's better to focus on the pollution that is created from the industrial waste burning and the automobile industries, which is creating the more pollution. So that would be really nice if we focus on those things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good, sir.
thank you, Vivek, for your comment.
Yeah.
Um, I think, of course, as far as anything you do, any action which can contribute to pollution, we should keep an eye. So you are looking curious about that. I think I must appreciate you, Smita. I think there was one more question. One question from Srishti. Srishti, are you there? Srishti, I think she left probably. Road cleanings, you were asking about the road cleaning. So the question was that how should we implement road cleaning? Probably, I think this should be done after every alternate day or in the night, because in many countries it is being done by the tankers. The tankers, they bring water. That water is not very high quality water, but medium quality water which can be processed, and through pipes and all it can be used to clean, to wash out the road, so that on both sides the dust particles which they get eliminated. Otherwise, it is the same dust when you clean by brooms, it gets asides on the corners, and when the heavy trucks or bus, it goes away, and all these dust particles, they are mixing in the air again and again. So that is not a good idea that you clean that, and because of the heavy traffic it is again in the air. Anybody else? Any other question now?
Sir, I would like to say about the burning.
Okay.
We burn the wood, it's correct, but we burning incomplete burning is more dangerous than burning its complete fuel. Like
Yes.
if we burning the wood with the constant blowing the air, then it emits very less amount of this blackish smoke, I think which emit less pollution or not, sir.
Yeah.
Or we can put on some wet leaf, then it creates huge fog-like situation that can make more trouble for surrounding also.
Yeah, I agree, Jagdish. You are absolutely right. Because incomplete burning is like is not a good fuel. Basically, it depends on fuels, and whatever like is a big quantity of the fuel which we are using in Indian households or maybe industry, we use third grade uh, fuel, especially like in the kilns, brick kilns. They use plastic, they use tire, they use everything, and which emit black carbon. And so these are the basic sources needs to be tapped, need to be identified, need to be analyzed, need to be observed on a regular basis, so that we can make a complete input for the government.
Yes, sir, we can actively spread awareness to local people not to burn incomplete. That will be very helpful for our surrounding also and for our nature also.
Yeah,
That can be done as volunteer or very actively participate people.
yeah. So point,
So one more thing, sir, I would like to contribute
yeah, I think वो
regarding the pollution.
combo ने एक message दिया है that this meeting will be ended in 2 minutes automatically.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So just
So
finish it like in 1 minute.
before, okay, before we finish, I would like to tell that waste segregation is also the important part. We are not segregating the waste, and lot of waste is reaching outside, and after we can see the a big storage of the this waste outside of the city, and then people burn it, and then it's continuously burned and creates lots of pollution, air pollution. So it is better if we start doing waste segregation at our home, and wet waste and dry waste. Only these two things if we focus, and that would be really nice. So
Yeah.
it is our humble request from the side of Earth Root Foundation to and to the future for Arunachal, Friday for Arunachal. Sorry, and I think just focus on the waste segregation at your home. It would be really wonderful. At least we can contribute ourselves to the society to stop the air pollution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's going to be stopped soon. So thank you, Owen. And any question if you have, so please you send me on my email. I will reply.
Thank you, sir, for being our today's speaker. I think so. The meeting will end now, as I have scheduled it only for 1 hour from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And now it's already 6 p.m. and now we are at the end of our meeting. So before ending it, I will from Friday for Future Arunachal Pradesh. I would like to thank Dr. S.K. Dakha for being our today's speaker. Though we were very less in number, but it was quite good. And though we were less in number, but it was very qualitative, and I really appreciate it. And thank you, sir, for being with us and for being our today's speaker. And also thank you to all the audience for being here. Yeah, thank you so much. And
Yeah,
like
thank
I
you.
believe that many of you have again like many knowledge from Dr. S.K. Dakha about pollution, and and I hope that many of you will start practicing it from now onwards in your own personal life. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Owen, for conducting all this. We are really very happy, and in future we would like to join again.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir. We will
yeah,
call you again in future.
yeah. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you, sir.